Hey everybody, welcome to our next Artist Talk. We have a really great panel for you today. Again, we are focused on our From the Inside exhibition, and we have another artist here today. Justin Kolosick, am I saying that right?
Yeah, Kolosick.
Kolosick.
Yep.
You did absolutely beautiful work for this exhibition. And Juliana, if you can just tell us a little bit about what the exhibition is about and why you tapped Justin for this.
Yes, hi, Kay and everybody. This is an exhibition that pairs poems and artwork. So the poems came from a program called Free on the Inside that is led by Sharonda Eccentric Richardson in correctionals in Miami-Dade. So about a year ago, we started the planning of this exhibition, and I was given a number of 11 poems, and I wanted to reach out to artists that are close to my circle, artists that have resonated with me. Some of the artists have moved recently to the area and may not have exhibited in South Florida that much. So looking at different aspects of why I wanted to exhibit these artists. I've been working closely with Justin in the past year in several aspects in Pompano, and I'm familiar with his work somehow. So I started the process of sending the group of artists 3 or 2 poems and see what resonated with them. And from the poems that were written by the incarcerated people participating in the program. And so what's interesting with Justin is that he selected 2 pieces to pair them with one poem. I think that I want to ask Justin, if you can walk us through your response to the poem titled Reflecting Inside Out. So how did that poem resonate with you, and how did you come up with your piece?
Well, I'd like to say that the title itself is something that I was interested in, as far as, I work intuitively. So when I sit down and work with a piece, it usually just comes straight from the inside at first, and then every once in a while you have something that you look at halfway through and you go, oh, this actually has a theme to it. And I either decide to work on that theme or just keep coming from the inside, and then it turns out being a mismatch of all different kinds of things. And that's what the Before You I Go turned into, that piece. It turned into a piece of just a bunch of different things added together. And the other one, Muerte Regurgita, which means death regurgitates, turned into this death piece. It was about death and about, this darkness that's going on there. And that's very hard for me to keep going in that intuitive way. If you're working on something for 4 hours straight and then you're trying to get back to that place to make something look that way, it's very hard to do. So that one was definitely a struggle. But the poetry in itself was beautiful. And one of the things that I really loved about it was he said at the end of the poem, he says, admit to your mistakes. And he says, the hardest thing for people to see is themselves. And that's what happens when you do intuitive work, is you do it, and then at the end, you're like, oh my God, what was in my subconscious? Like, what was I thinking about? And so that's something that, really interested me about that poem.
Jody, did you want to jump in there?
Yeah, so I know that you start with the process on the inside and that you are doing intuitive work and it's mixed media. Where do you figure out, and at what point do you figure out what materials you're going to use in your mixed media?
Well, I used to use all kinds of stuff. I used to use ceramics and etchings and all different kinds of mediums. But then, after having a child and having smaller places as time went on, I don't actually have a studio. So I usually just use things that are around the house, and magazines are one of those things that I get. That's not a $30 tube of paint, but I can still use it as you do paint. I look for those colors. I don't just slap things together. I don't really overlap things, but I work with the color in a way that a painter would.
So Justin, I had a question. Both looking at the work that you did for this exhibition and a lot of your tremendous work that's on your website, there's often a lot going on in your pieces. If a person is new to art, how do you guide them for what they should be looking at first? Or is there a way to take it all in to get the correct messages? What's your advice on looking at art, especially your art?
Well, I would say it's about the connections of things. And when you're looking at something that has a lot of different images together, a lot of different colors together, a lot of different feelings are happening. I think it's about connecting them. Just like I'm putting them together, I would like somebody to look at them and kind of like, find these certain connections. Of course, it's going to be different in their eyes than mine. Some people look at it and they think it's a funny thing, but it's actually like a sexual thing. Everybody looks at things in a completely different way. And I also like that when people look at collage, they look at the placement of pieces, because it's not like somebody just threw something down. They're actually, every single piece, they're either cutting it to size, like deciding to leave this little, piece that comes off of it that is not the right color. But all of those are conscious decisions, at least on my part.
That's exciting. And so Justin, right now, what are you working on next? What can we look forward to seeing from you soon?
Right now, I'm actually working on a series with my family, considering we're stuck in the house, right? So I've been working on a series with my son, because I've been teaching him during the day, and then we have art class time. And then when my wife comes home, we do these performance pictures. I've done them in the past. There's some on my site. But we basically take everything in the house that we have, either based on color or texture or based on the room, and then we build a whole scene together, and are all dressed in different costumes that we've made out of everything in the closet. And then we take a 10-second timer selfie with it. So we're using a regular phone. We're not using like camera or tripod. We don't really have any studio. So there's going to be one for each room of the house. And right now we have 6 done. So we have the bathroom and our bedroom to do. So there's all this stuff going on with that. And I've sent a couple, I think, to Juliana, just to give her like a sneak peek of it. But that's what I'm working on right now. And it's fun and it's creative and it's something that everybody can do at home.
Yeah.
But it's also, and we're using, either underwear or whatever we have to cover our mouth as well, just to kind of give that thing. I mean, everybody's, 6 feet away from each other so that they're not 6 feet under, I don't know. It's a tough time, and this has been the longest month of everyone's lives.
Well, you're giving us a lot of inspiration, and Juliana and Jody pulling together this exhibition for us, and even though we can't get in to see it, getting this way to experience it and to enjoy it and to have these wonderful talks with you is greatly appreciated. So ladies, do you have anything else that you want to ask Justin while we have him here?
I always wonder, when you're working on an art piece, how do you know when it's done? I always ask that of artists.
That's a good one.
Sometimes you just keep going and you ruin it. It just happens. Like you're halfway through it and you look at it and you're like, this is beautiful, but then you just keep working on it. At the end, you're like, I really overworked it. And so there is a good like balance to that. And sometimes I do overwork things, and sometimes I'm like, oh, I hit it on the head. But I try not to. I don't throw a piece away. So if I work on a piece, I work on it till I think it's finished. If I don't like it, I'll actually work over it. And you see that on Before You I Go, the other piece that's in there. I worked over it because I didn't like it. But I don't throw anything away. I don't do that. I feel like if there's anything there that came out, I can fix it.
Wow, that is amazing. Well, thank you, Justin, for joining us, and we look forward to seeing all of you again for one of our next artist talks as we continue to chat about our exhibition from the inside. Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Juliana.
Thanks, Justin.